blood, chaos, and a stretcher being wheeled out faster than anyone wanted to see. What you're about to witness isn't just another Monday Night Raw match gone wrong. This is the moment when Bron Breaker's dominance met LA Knight's unbreakable will, and the result sent shockwaves through the entire WWE universe. One man walked out. One man was carried out. And before this video ends, you're going to understand exactly why this match will be remembered as one of the most brutal encounters in recent Raw history. The tension had been building for weeks. Bron Breaker, the second-generation powerhouse with the blood of the legendary Steiner brothers coursing through his veins, had been on an absolute tear through Monday Night Raw. Aligned with Paul Heyman and Bronson Reed as part of the Vision, Breaker wasn't just winning matches, he was dismantling opponents. His spear had become the most feared finishing move on the roster. His intensity was unmatched. And every single time he stepped into that ring, you knew someone was leaving on a stretcher. Then there was LA Knight, the megastar. The man who refuses to back down from anyone, anywhere, at any time. Knight had been fighting his way through every obstacle WWE creative threw at him, battling the Vision, battling the Usos, battling for his spot at the top of the card. But on this night, Knight found himself standing across the ring from a man possessed. A man with something to prove. A man named Bron Breaker. From the moment that bell rang, you could feel it. This wasn't going to be a wrestling match. This was going to be a fight. Breaker charged out of his corner like a freight train with no brakes, and Knight met him head-on. These two gladiators collided in the center of that ring with such force that the entire arena shook. The crowd was already on their feet, and the match had barely started. Knight landed the first big strike, a thunderous forearm that sent Breaker stumbling backward. The megastar was feeding off the energy of the WWE universe, and you could see it in his eyes. He wanted this. He needed this. But Breaker? Breaker just smiled. That twisted, dangerous smile that tells you this man feels no pain. This man only wants to inflict it. Breaker exploded back with a series of devastating shoulder tackles that drove Knight into the corner. The turnbuckles rattled with each impact. Knight's back slammed against the pads again and again, and you could see the wind getting knocked out of him. But that's the thing about LA Knight, the man doesn't stay down. He fought back with everything he had, throwing elbows, throwing punches, doing whatever it took to create separation. The match spilled outside the ring, and that's when things really started to escalate. Breaker grabbed Knight and launched him shoulder first into the steel steps with such velocity that the steps separated on impact. The sound echoed throughout the arena. Medical personnel at ringside immediately stood up, concerned. But both men got back to their feet because neither one of them was willing to give an inch. Back inside the ring, Knight somehow managed to shift the momentum. He hit a modified neckbreaker that planted Breaker hard on the canvas. The crowd erupted. This could be it. This could be the moment Knight puts away the powerhouse. He went for the cover. 1, 2, kick out. Breaker launched Knight off of him with such force that Knight flew halfway across the ring. The power of this man is absolutely unreal. Now here's where the story gets interesting. Paul Heyman was at ringside, shouting instructions, manipulating the situation like only the Oracle can do. And you knew, everyone watching knew, that Heyman wouldn't let his investment lose clean. Sure enough, as the referee was checking on Knight in the corner, Heyman slid something into the ring. The crowd saw it. The commentary team saw it. But the referee? The referee was oblivious. Knight and Breaker continued their war. These two were hitting each other with everything in their arsenal. Knight connected with his signature running knee that sent Breaker reeling. The megastar was building momentum, feeding off every cheer, every chant of "yeah" from the capacity crowd. He climbed to the second rope, measuring Breaker, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. But Breaker, displaying that incredible athleticism that makes him so dangerous, sprang to his feet and caught Knight midair. Just snatched him right out of the sky. The crowd gasped. Breaker had Knight in position for the Gorilla Press Power Slam, one of his devastating signature moves. He paraded around the ring, showing off his strength, making sure everyone understood who the dominant force was in this match. Then he drove Knight down with such impact that the entire ring shook. The Power Slam connected flush, and Knight was planted in the center of the ring. Breaker hooked the leg. 1, 2, no. Somehow, someway, LA Knight got his shoulder up at the last possible millisecond. The crowd exploded. Breaker couldn't believe it. Heyman was losing his mind at ringside, screaming at the referee, claiming it was a 3 count. This is what separates the good wrestlers from the great ones. Knight was running on pure adrenaline and heart at this point. His body was battered. His back was bruised from the assault. But his spirit? His spirit was unbreakable. He pulled himself up using the ropes, and you could see the determination in his eyes. The crowd was rallying behind him, willing him to dig deeper, to find that extra gear. Breaker, now visibly frustrated, decided it was time to end this once and for all. He backed into the corner, positioning himself for the spear, the devastating finishing move that had ended so many careers and matches. The crowd knew what was coming. Knight knew what was coming. But knowing and stopping it are two completely different things. Breaker charged across the ring like a missile locked on its target. But Knight, showing incredible ring awareness, sidestepped at the very last second. Breaker crashed shoulder first into the steel ring post. The sickening thud echoed through the arena. This was Knight's moment. This was his opportunity to capitalize and put this match away. Knight hit the ropes, building momentum, going for his finishing maneuver. But then chaos. Pure, unfiltered chaos. Bronson Reed appeared from seemingly nowhere, climbing onto the apron and grabbing Knight's leg, halting his momentum completely. The referee was immediately in Reed's face, ordering him to leave, threatening disqualification. But the damage was done. Knight's focus was broken. And that split second of distraction was all Breaker needed. The second-generation superstar recovered, shook off the cobwebs from hitting the post, and repositioned himself. Knight turned around, and Breaker unleashed absolute hell. He hit the spear. But not just any spear. This was the most vicious, bone-crushing spear you've ever seen. Breaker drove through Knight with such force that both men slid halfway across the ring from the momentum. The impact was devastating. Unreal. The crowd went silent for a moment, shocked by what they just witnessed. Knight's body went completely limp. He wasn't moving. Medical personnel immediately rushed to the ring, but the match wasn't over yet. Breaker, fueled by aggression and the roar of his own ambition, dragged Knight's lifeless body away from the ropes and made the cover. 1, 2, 3. It was over. But Breaker wasn't finished. Even after the bell rang, even after the referee tried to pull him away, Breaker continued his assault. He pulled Knight up and hit another devastating move, a released German suplex that sent Knight crashing awkwardly on the back of his head and neck. The crowd erupted in boos. This wasn't competition anymore. This was something darker. Reed joined Breaker in the ring, and the Vision stood tall over LA Knight's motionless body. Heyman entered the ring with that sinister smile, raising Breaker's arm in victory. But the celebration felt hollow because everyone was focused on Knight, who still wasn't moving. The medical team rushed in, surrounding the megastar, checking his vitals, stabilizing his neck. The arena fell eerily quiet as a stretcher was brought to ringside. This is when reality sets in for everyone watching. This is when you realize that what just happened transcended entertainment and became genuinely concerning. The medical personnel carefully placed a neck brace on Knight and slowly, carefully, loaded him onto the stretcher. The crowd began a supportive chant of Knight. Knight! Knight, showing respect for the warrior who left everything in that ring. As Knight was wheeled up the ramp, Breaker stood in the ring with no remorse in his eyes. He had sent a message to the entire roster: anyone who steps in his path will meet the same fate. Heyman grabbed a microphone and delivered one of his legendary promos, proclaiming that Breaker was the future of WWE, that the Vision was unstoppable, and that anyone foolish enough to challenge them would end up just like LA Knight, broken and hospitalized. The crowd's reaction was mixed. Boos rained down on the Vision, but there was also this unsettling sense that Breaker had truly crossed a line. This wasn't about winning anymore. This was about destruction. This was about dominance. And LA Knight, one of the toughest, most resilient competitors on the roster, had become the latest victim. Backstage reports immediately started flooding social media. Fans wanted updates on Knight's condition. Was he seriously injured? Would he be cleared to compete again? The WWE universe was in shock. Because when you see a stretcher come out, when you see medical personnel moving with that level of urgency, it brings home the reality that these superstars are putting their bodies on the line every single time they step through those ropes. This match, this moment, represents everything intense about professional wrestling. It's the culmination of weeks of storytelling, the manifestation of real physical consequences, and a reminder that in WWE, anything can happen. Bron Breaker established himself as an absolute force of nature. And LA Knight proved once again why he's called the megastar, because even in defeat, even being carried out on a stretcher, he showed more heart and courage than most people could dream of possessing. The aftermath of this match sent ripples through the entire Raw roster. Everyone now understood that Breaker wasn't playing games. The Vision wasn't just a faction, it was a movement built on dominance and destruction. And with Heyman orchestrating everything from behind the scenes, you had to wonder who would be brave enough to step up next. Listen, if you made it this far in the video, you're clearly passionate about wrestling just like we are here at SlamZone. We pour our hearts into every breakdown, every analysis, every moment we share with you, because this isn't just content to us, this is a community. This is a family. And families support each other. So if you appreciate what we do here, if these breakdowns add value to your wrestling experience, I'm asking you from one wrestling fan to another, hit that subscribe button. Join this incredible family of wrestling fanatics who live and breathe this business just like you do. Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts on this brutal match. Do you think Breaker went too far? Will LA Knight come back stronger? I genuinely want to hear from you because your voice matters in this community. And please, share this video with your wrestling friends because content like this, detailed, passionate, real breakdowns, deserves to be seen. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another moment when we break down the matches that everyone's talking about. We're building something special here at SlamZone, and you're a part of it. What happened between Bron Breaker and LA Knight on Raw wasn't just another match. It was a defining moment that will echo through WWE history. One man's dominance. One man's resilience. And a finish that nobody saw coming but everyone will remember. This is the kind of intensity that makes wrestling the most electrifying form of sports entertainment on the planet. This is why we watch. This is why we care. This is why we're here every single week breaking down every devastating moment, every shocking twist, every legendary performance. Bron Breaker proved he's a different breed of superstar. LA Knight proved his heart is bigger than any beating he could take. And we proved that SlamZone is the home for the most passionate, in-depth wrestling analysis you're going to find anywhere. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of this journey. And remember, legends are made in moments like these, and champions are forged through battles like this. Until next time, stay locked into Slam Zone, where we bring you the hardest-hitting wrestling breakdowns every single week. This is where the real wrestling conversation happens. This is where fans become family. And this is where every match matters.